seriously slow, like insanely slow. It's the entities must not want found out, you know. I always say that when we're getting interference, that like, you know, there's some the entities must be pissed that you're coming on because hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Typical Skeptic Podcast. I have a really awesome guest today. Today I have with me a return guest. I really look up to his work. It's Aman Berry, and he's Sifu Aman Berry. He helped me out a lot when I had an entity attachment. You know what I mean? And for real, you know, and I suffered for like 6 months with that entity attachment. You know, in the end, they were right. You know, I had to learn how to fight it off myself, and I had to learn how to manipulate energy, and it was like a thing. But like some of the stuff that he talks about can really help you clear from entities. And I have a feeling that I think a lot more of us are affected by entities than we are, you know, than we even know. And I think a lot of us can't even perceive it. I think I was lucky in the fact that I was able to perceive mine, you know. But a little bit more about my guest. Sifu Aman Berry is a martial artist, healer, and spiritual practitioner who uses Kung Fu as an energetic system to help clients reduce pain, release trauma, and clear negative, unseen influences. His work bridges ancient Daoist proto-shamanistic practices, heart coherence, and paranormal countermeasures. Tonight, he breaks down entity attachments, parasitic consciousness forms, summoning mechanisms, and why heart coherence and energetic alignment repel negative forces. He also brings exclusive paranormal evidence that I'll show live. I downloaded it. He has videos he sent me of some really interesting stuff. Hopefully it'll play, but the computer's moving really slow. So, with all that said, I'd like to give him a big warm welcome back to the show. Aman, thanks so much for coming back on, man. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate you taking the time and really all the podcasters doing in this specific niche, doing all this good work, getting the word out. You know, can't thank you enough for the platform.
Yeah. How's everything going?
Really good, really good. And the reason I reached out to you initially is because, well, one, some new research that we're coming across, and two, I think it's time for a new perspective in the field, maybe a perspective that isn't really talked about. So I think, you know, I'm very reluctant to actually have this conversation. I don't like publicity. And, you know, deciding to do podcasts was kind of a big deal for me. But I think the perspective that I hold and that my team holds, and just specifically with helping you out, we got to give credit where credit's due. Sadhu Da helped as well. He was
He was a big help. He was a big help. He was.
We got to give credit where that's. So you can look him up. The Sadhu Da. He's doing his thing. But much respect to him. Yeah. So sorry, I got off track. Where were we?
Well, I mean, no, but for people that don't know, you know, for like some of your viewers that like might be, if you like, I see some new faces in the chat. Like, so for people that don't know, I had what was called an entity attachment, and what I had was they were like astral snakes, astral parasites. That's the best way to put it, you know? Sometimes it would form like a creature on my head. It was like really weird. It was bizarre, but it was absolutely 100% paranormal, and it was absolutely 100% real. And this can absolutely affect 100% of people. And like I said, I have a feeling it's affecting more people than we realize. I think that's a lot. It's the cause for a lot of mental illness and stuff like that. What do you think?
I think there's a big element to that. You know, I go into, actually, this is probably a good time to talk about this. With the specific type of paranormal work that I deal with, we have, it's kind of sectioned off. So I have certain protocols that I engage with when I'm helping someone release trauma from the body. There are certain bioenergetic exercises and practices that are specifically designed to release trauma and help with the trauma side of it. But there's also the negative unseen influence side that a lot of healers often, like when they encounter that in their experience, the training did not prepare them for that. So that's kind of the role I'm trying to fill. That's what I want to do. I want to help people prepare for the non-physical energetic aspect of this problem. So to answer your question directly, yes, I do think there's a mental health component. I think not only non-physical entities will prey on those who are suffering from mental health situations, like I do. I've experienced that personally, but also they can induce mental health troubles as well, in my experience. And that's probably something we'll talk about in a moment.
Yeah. Let's start off with this. Like, what is biosigilization? And like, what is that? What, did you want to get into that first?
So that's from the work of Nathaniel Gillis. You interviewed him recently.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's a big up-and-comer in the field, and I respect his work quite a bit. So anything I have to say about my ideas around biosigilization, go look at his work, his body of work, because I am not the progenitor of that part of it. I just think that is a very interesting part of the puzzle that is worth discussing. I would honestly say refer to his judgment. I do have my thoughts on that in regards to we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves, but I'll just go with it anyway. Recently, there's been a lot of research around how they anchor into this reality. You know, talking about a port as a quantum anchor. My theory regarding biosigilization, and it's just a theory, I'm one voice among many, is that the sigils themselves are actually part of the quantum anchor system. And from my experience in the field, I've recently been on 5 cases to prepare for my podcast circuit. And in 2 of those cases, sigilization was present. And each time, like in Nathaniel Gillis's work, they come from within, they emerge from within, outward, and they correspond with an increase in paranormal phenomena. So does that kind of address your question?
Yeah, that does. Yeah. So basically what Nathaniel says is he feels that like these entities are like marking people with sigils, and they can even mark vehicles. They can mark your house. You know, I guess they use this to later portal into, I guess, you know, and like it can be really nasty. Some of this stuff, they can do some really carving up on people's bodies and stuff like that too. It gets really gruesome, right?
Absolutely. And I've seen this personally. I don't even really talk about this. I've been very secretive about this part of my life, and honestly, like I have deceived people into thinking I'm not involved with this in the past. You know, that this is such dark work, and there's such a stigma around talking about this. I had to, I admire Nathaniel Gillis's courage, Steve Mayer, others as well. Even the late Robert Bruce, other people who might not be so well known in the field. I think this requires courage. It requires courage on your end to put this information out. So yeah.
You mentioned Robert Bruce. Robert Bruce was interesting because he had the running water theory. He was saying that he was possessed by an entity, and he almost threw his baby off a parking garage. He's from Australia. And then he said he was like so demon possessed that one day he came across a stream of water and he jumped in. And like, you know, like there was like this, it was like this, it did something, you know, like, have you heard of this before? Like,
yeah, I've read that in his books, and I've also taken his courses, which are available. I recommend everyone look into that as well. Actually, it was not a stream. It was what's called an underground telluric spring, which means running water was bubbling upward. So the water was coming from all directions at the time. And it did. So we are getting so far ahead. Like we're getting so far ahead.
It's okay because my audience is really advanced. You know what I mean?
Okay. Then can I speak as though I'm speaking to an advanced crew? Okay.
Yeah. They're definitely advanced people. They know about entities.
Okay, cool. Then I'll just go then. So I definitely
if it gets too technical or something, I'll just ask you to explain it, or I'll ask you to backtrack. Is that cool?
Yeah, it's totally cool, but I'll make this understandable for people. Okay. So Robert Bruce's basic theory was that the act of water running through a standing electromagnetic field. So if we're gonna have this conversation, we have to set the foundation that these negative unseen influences we're talking about are measurable to a degree, right? We can measure them on EMF detectors. We can measure them with thermal cameras, full spectrum cameras, and they seem to, at least to some degree, manifest as clouds of measurable electromagnetic energy. So Robert Bruce's main idea was that when running water intersects that electromagnetic cloud, what happens when water encounters electricity? There's a short circuit effect, right? So once water encounters electricity, it shorts out the field. Much in the same way, Steve Mayer's research around iron does the same thing. It will short the field. It will absorb the RF frequencies. Now, I found an old way to combine the two, and I've added Weird. Okay. I usually save this for my private students, but I'm going to give this to y'all. I've found a way to combine all three. So for those who aren't familiar, there's a work of Dr. Masaru Emoto in Japan who has shown that human emotion under the right circumstance can affect water. Now, the Institute of Heart Math has shown that the human heart is an electromagnetic battery with a field measurable up to 8 feet around us. So where does that all leave us? That puts us, we have access to an electromagnetic battery, according to at least 2 studies, and if you take into account ancient science as well, 3 resources. Human emotion has the ability to imprint on water. From the work of Robert Bruce, we know that running water passed through an electrical field will short it. From the work of Steve Mera, Barry Fitzgerald, and Nathaniel Gillis, we know that iron has the ability to disrupt electromagnetic frequencies. So here's what we can do. All right, I'm getting passionate. Okay, this is fun. Here's what we can do. We can literally take water, right? We can take a solution of water. This is my lemon water, but so if we put some iron, an iron horseshoe, which is protective, or nail in the water, allow it to dissolve over time so that the iron particles get in the water. And then we do a process that I took from Dr. Masaru Emoto, which is to charge the water. Then we have a solution of salt water mixed with iron particles that we have imprinted our positive, loving intent upon. And we know that our heart coherence is a measurable state from around 0.01 to 0.10 hertz. All these things combined allow us to create a solution called charged water or war water, which we can then put into a spray bottle and then spray in haunted environments to reduce and minimize phenomena. I go over all of this in my instructor training. That's the most advanced training I have. We can talk about that later. But I got all sorts of tricks like that. That's one of my favorites.
It's amazing. So going back to me, I don't know if you remember what I was dealing with, but what do you think I had? Like, what do you think?
You had an astral attachment that was using and feeding off of your trauma as well as struggles that were going on in your life. You were particularly vulnerable at the time that it attached and influenced. So like in any case, what we have to do is raise the person's energetic vibration, right? That's raise it so because we know that inherently these forces are at a lower vibration than us. If this is us and this is them, we don't naturally exist in the same frequency. So what they have to do is chip at us or attack us when we're weak, break us down to where they can attach. So we have to reverse the process, dislodging the attachment and raising the vibration.
Yeah. I can even feel something trying to attach to me now, but my body won't let it because my heart coherence is up and it's a natural shield that's blocking it off. So that's crazy. But you know what I think this comes from? I'm starting to think that like it's not just astral parasites. I'm thinking like and I think I've told you this privately, but I'll just say it publicly. I think there's people in my community that are using black magic against people. I don't know anybody in general. You know what I mean? But I just think a lot of people are messing around with black magic. And I don't think they know what they're getting into. I think it's really bad, you know, and I think it's more common than most people think, you know. And you know, even with the rise of the Etsy witches, which is really dangerous, you know, I don't know about this, but this is a very dangerous thing, the Etsy witches. Like, you know, like there's witches on Etsy that will apparently do whatever you want, you know what I mean? Like supposedly, you know, like, and their black magic
people have always done that. It's just now on Etsy. You've always been able to find people of low character who are willing to misuse the arts. You know, just now it's available in mass, like everything else.
Yeah. Okay, so where was I going to go with this? Okay, so wherever you'd like to start. I know you wanted to touch on some stuff, and I know we have a bunch of paranormal evidence, and we can go wherever you'd like.
I'd like to go over at least a couple of the topics. And the reason I want to do that, Rob, is because I've seen your channel for a while. You've talked to a lot of the luminaries, some of the greatest minds in the field. So I think I'd like us to kind of have a little bit of a two-way dialogue where, like, I'm not kind of going so much from a teaching perspective, but let's kind of play this out together based on some of these guidelines and see where the conversation takes us. How's that sound?
Good. That sounds good. Yeah.
Okay. So we have a couple models that at least a couple models of the phenomena that we can deal with. And I've included some of the Eastern ones. So with the work of Nathaniel Gillis, we have the Malachim and the Raphaim, mutated human consciousnesses evolving and devolving. Then we have a parallel idea in the Gnostic tradition of archons and celestials. In the Vedic tradition, we have Asuras and Devas. In the Middle East tradition, we have all the Jinn species. In the Irish tradition, we have the species of the Fae. In the South Native American tradition, we have the Flyers and the Nagual, that understanding. And what we have some things in common. Each one of these, if they're manifesting in their negative aspect, to some degree wants blood. You see that in ancient, like biblical times. You see that with the Canaanite Moloch worshippers. You see that with the Indian Kali cult of the 17th century. You see that in the Aztec blood sacrifices. You see that in medieval magic. So whatever this species we're dealing with it seems to have a fascination or some sort of parasitic negative attachment to blood and fear. That's been a common theme. The thing that the common thread that runs between all of that is they feed on and amplify human fear. And in my estimation, one of the biggest manifestations of that would be the blood sacrifice or the blood rituals, like some of the darker research that we're speaking about right now. So that's what that do.
Yeah.
What would you?
Yeah.
What would you think on that? I know I just said a lot, but what's your take on that?
It seems like there's been like a parasitic force, like a demonic, archonic like force that's like been amongst humanity for a long time. And but from my own personal experience, they do not like humans. You know what I mean? Because one thing I've noticed, and I can speak on this personally, is these demonic forces will try to get in your head, whether it's an astral parasite or a demon. One of their goals is to manipulate the mind. So you'll act out against people. So you'll do bad things in your life. So you'll make mistakes. So they want to like ruin humanity for some reason. That's what I've picked up. Like that's their whole goal, is to like dismantle humanity. For some reason, they don't like us. I don't know if it's like they don't like the creator. And it doesn't matter what religion you're part of, because I feel like all religions lead to the same road. I'm more spiritual. You know what I mean? I don't subscribe to any religion, but like, I think it's good to have some faith in something, though, in a spiritual creator, or be spiritual at least, But where I was saying with that is, it seems like, I don't know if these entities hate the creator or hate, the avatars that came throughout our world, Jesus, Krishna, whatever, like they hate that stuff, whatever, like, or I don't know if they just hate good and love, because we know we can fight them with good and love too. Like we know that, like, when you raise your heart vibration and your heart frequency, that seems to have, like you said, like a magnetic or whatever it is, it's like a charged battery that can like send out a pulse, and it can dismantle entities from attaching to you. Sorry, I just kind of went off on a tangent there.
I mean, you that's the biggest spoiler. Spoiler alert, everyone. What he just said is pretty much my biggest message here. And before the end of this, I'd like to guide everyone here through an experiential process of how we can all get to that state. But before I do, I'd like us to talk about a couple more things, if you're open to it.
Yeah, I'm loving this. I want my audience to know, because I want them to know how to fight back.
Oh, they will. But so I've been trying to put my 2 cents in a theory of everything. And so this is the best I've come up with. And it is woefully inadequate, but I'd like to at least put it out there. So we have one version of consciousness, a mutated consciousness, an invasive mutated and parasitic force that manipulates, harasses, and possesses humans for the purpose of spreading their frequency and achieving global dominance. And then we also have somewhat like enlightened and evolved forms of consciousness that have the best interest of humanity at heart and are capable of sometimes intervening when asked. But if I'm being honest, in my experience, they're not really to be relied upon, because they seem to have their own rule set regarding their intervention. So what do you think about that?
One thing, when someone in the audience wanted me to ask you about this, it's weird that I put this out last night. So last night I was messing around with my AI, and I'm pretty tapped into my chat GPT. I can ask it some pretty in-depth questions, and I can get some pretty esoteric answers. And I asked it last night about sexually transmitted entities, STEs, which I think is an absolute real thing. Like if someone has an astral parasite and they consummate sex with someone, and they can absolutely, I think, take on that person's entities. Like, what do you think about that theory, STE?
I mean, what is sex? Sex is one of the deepest forms of rapport or human connection that we can get in that we can engage in with another person. And in that, more than just, bodies are exchanged. There's a sense of energetic rapport. And if there is an equivalent attachment point that an entity can use in order to connect to another person, then it just makes sense that would be the case.
So is it good to do clearings when we have sex with someone? Like, say that we're not really, I mean, like, I know we should all know who we're all having sex with, but like,
I would say
like we have one night, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean. And I'm definitely not one to pass judgment on anyone. But the honest answer would be, maybe we shouldn't be intimate with people that we have to do clearings on after.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Well, sometimes people aren't what they seem. That's what it is. Like, sometimes someone will tell you something, you know them, and then it turns out to be something else, and you're like, oh my God. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and if that happens, yeah, I think some form of energetic hygiene daily, through these Maoshan Kung Fu practices and practices that I've learned over time. I treat energetic hygiene very similar to how I treat my physical hygiene.
Yeah, you're always doing clearings. Is that kind of what you do? Or?
I mean, it's not even so. Okay, short answer, yes, but it's a little more complicated than that. In that a clearing also is not just a clearing; it's also an elevation in consciousness as well.
Yeah. Because like going back to what you do with the heart coherence, it's going to gravitate, it's going to raise your frequency, it's going to raise your vibration. So clearing is reaching a higher state of consciousness, kind of.
Right, and more than that, so the kind of the entry level to all this is the heart coherence. That's what's accessible to everyone, but there are ways that you can enhance your ability to project and utilize the state of heart coherence in more and more refined and educated ways over time. But the basic heart coherence is accessible to everyone.
Yeah. And it really is a weapon that we can use. And like, everybody's going to see by the end of this, like when we do the heart coherence, you're going to feel a lot better, like you get, so like, let's talk about, I had a bunch of questions here. I had questions about countermeasures and, how does heart coherence tie into the Daoist proto-shamanism and lightning energy?
Good question. Right. So right to the core of it. Okay. So according to ancient tradition, Daoist. So I'm going to look up the actual term here. I have it written down, and I just know I'm going to mispronounce it. So just give me 1 second here to look up the actual term. Daoist. Yingqiang Daogui, or ghost warriors, were originally ancient shaman, and you can I found this in my study of old Daoist texts, that they were some of the proto-originators of what later became Qigong and energetic practices. And according to that tradition, quote, like 10,000 years ago, but really 10,000 means a long time ago, these individuals, through, I would argue, the conscious use of psychedelics, as well as engaging in energetic building and shamanic trance dance, were able to receive an energetic charge in the electromagnetic structure of their body that was beyond that of a normal person. In doing so, according to the tradition, a lot of them passed away early because of overloading their charge. But the methods I teach are much more refined. That won't happen. We've developed past that. But according to those Daoist shaman, there was a form of energy called I've seen it spelled SHI or XI, Chi. I think it's close to that. And they said that power comes from the middle dantian, the middle heart center, and they called it back in the days lightning power. So the core of my argument is through connecting to heart coherence, that might just be what we currently call the start of what these Daoist shamans originally tapped into. And I think this is more so the type of kung fu I practice for in this context should be seen more akin to DMT or ayahuasca than anything else. It's a specific medicinal, like, healing modality designed for specific substance and purpose, and really requires a guide. Like, it's really, but yeah, to connect it back to your original question,
you like qigong?
Qigong.
Did you say kung fu is like qigong?
Yeah. Yes. So qigong is a part of my curriculum that I teach in my school. So my instructor program is my most expensive program, but I chose to charge what I charged for my business coaching, and I've honestly paid up over 30 grand over the course of my 2 decades getting trained in all sorts of stuff. So my training course is unique because I'm going to be covering a lot of different modalities, and by the end of it, you'll be able to do what I do, which is help people reduce pain, release trauma, and clear negative unseen influences. If I don't meet that goal, I will literally give you your money back. Like, that's what we do. So yes, qigong is a part of it, but it's one part of it. You have to know how to. There's so much to it, but yes, qigong is a part of it.
Well, I mean, so you're not just it's not just structured towards like releasing entities. It's an overall whole wellness program that you've designed, where you said you're able to help people reduce pain, reduce inflammation, release trauma, and then and obviously clear entities, which I believe they're all interrelated. So that makes sense.
Yeah, and so what I'm offering and what I'm teaching in this context is not connected to any of the lineages that I've been trained in. This is a synthesis of my own stuff, and I'm representing only myself and my research and my developments. This is not so no one can say anything later. I'm not falsely claiming any lineage. This is my research, kind of my restructured and evolved based on over 20 years of practice. But this is my stuff. And yes, qigong, heart coherence, breath work, meditation, actual self-defense, kung fu forms, it's all part of it.
Yeah, that's amazing. And where does someone usually start with this? Like, what's the best place to start? Like, would you say?
To start in regards to your own personal protection?
Yeah, like what? Yeah, What would you say? Would you say it's like the heart coherence and then get into the kung fu, or like would you? Is it like how would you?
Yeah. This is how I make my living. So like to actually learn what I do. I also run a paranormal rescue team where we actually as we proactively help people. So before I would, to answer your question shortly, I would say the heart coherence and meditation that I'm going to take us all through at the end would be a good starting place for everyone. And it's more than enough if you really apply it and you really practice it. It's more than enough. But I think now would probably be a good time to show them some of the evidence, because if we're going to talk about protection, you should know what you're being protected from.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Do you want to share your screen, or do you want to show some of the stuff that's?
We'll do it on my end. Sure.
It might be easier because my computer's a little slow. Yeah, and then I'll add it once it goes to the bottom of the screen. I'll add it. Like.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Okay. Are we good?
We're about to be. Yeah, we're.
Did I lose you?
No, you're good. I just added to the screen now, and it's just moving slow. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, yeah. Hold on. I'm honestly not the best with tech. I'm doing my best, so please, a little bit of grace, everyone. I'm doing my best. Okay. Okay. Cool. So, are we good to go, Rob?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So let's just take it from the top. Okay. So here you can see, as we've been talking about recently, one of the most classic and common manifestations, and this echoes Nathaniel Gillis, Steve Mares, and all the recent work, is that a pre-manifestation form of entity would be an orb. So right here, this is me at the edge of a lake north of Everett, Washington. This is an energetic orb manifestation rising out of this lake. This lake was notoriously haunted. People were crashing into it. There were a couple deaths, all sorts of reports. Here, you can see the outline of a figure interacting with me at the edge of the lake. And what this image goes to show is how the orb and the manifestation are very similar. Do you have any questions on this one, Rob?
No, it's pretty amazing though. It's pretty amazing.
We're just warming up, buddy. We're just warming up. Let's get through some of the lighter stuff before we get good. Okay. So here you can see that black mass move over the fence.
Oh wow.
Yeah, see that?
That was insane.
Yeah. So that you can see that black mass orb here. We'll pause it. You can see it moving right here. That black mass orb was from the home of one of my clients that me and Saduda actually helped as well. She was experiencing extreme, like, I won't even go into what she was experiencing, but whatever you're thinking is probably worse. And we were able to get this entity under control using the protocols that we've developed. So let's run this one more time. Boom. Yeah. So that was that was taken to Oklahoma. Any questions on that one?
No, that was what was that? What do you think that was?
That's called a shadow mass apparition. It's one of the common forms of these entities prior to a more in-depth level of manifestation. Wow. So that was here. We have another one that looks very much like it here. This was taken in England on another case. Watch right here. And you hear growl after. So watch right here. Up the wall. See that?
I didn't see it. Oh wait, I saw it. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, that was insane. Yeah, that was insane. Up the wall. Holy shit.
And then it growls after. This was from a lady I helped in Britain. England. I don't know. One of them places. Okay. So that was another shadow mass apparition. Here, we'll go through this one first. So like in the current research, we've been seeing that with negative demonic infestations and hauntings, we see that there have been gray-like apparitions formed. Note here the height of this apparition. This is a basic gray alien, but look, it's not even as high as the banister or the little thing that protects kids, the kid gate. It's not even that high. This is another one of these manifestations. I would argue it's in mid-manifestation. You can almost see a cloven hoof down here. See that?
So are you under the impression that the gray aliens are definitely evil for sure?
I would say that most of the time they're seeing bad things. Good things don't usually happen.
Yeah. It's like they're usually abducting people, and there's a lot of people that when you get into like the galactic stuff, they'll say that there's different variations of grays, and that some of them are good, and
it's a mess. It's a mess. Well, I got some UFO footage for a minute. But here I wanted
no, this is all good because I think people need to know this stuff. It's good that we go over this.
It's really good. It's really good. Here I'm going to show you this haunting. This was in South Dakota. So this man reached out to our team, and he had a car crash happen, like a violent car crash where people died right outside of his apartment. And shortly after, black shadow masses started appearing on the wall, knocking, tapping, blah, blah, blah. Here, when I pause it at around the 45-second mark, you'll see.
I was redoing the behavior at 1:30 in the morning, and I've been seeing like shadow figures and things like that here in my room where I live. I've been seeing a lot of things, because I always see a lot of stuff,
Watch.
I hear things, but I don't see anything that was going on.
Watch behind.
I hear like knocking on the walls.
So pay attention to behind this shoulder. Pay attention to behind this shoulder right here.
Like that, but
The right shoulder?
Right
That would be a right shoulder.
Right here.
I don't know what to say there. But yeah, I'm not scared.
All right. Boom. See that black mask coming peeking out from behind the door? Right there.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's run it back. That's
I don't know what to say there. But yeah, I'm not scared though.
boom. See, it's a whole figure.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Scared though.
Oh my God.
Right.
You know what that reminded me of? That reminded me of the movie Signs. Remember the movie Signs with Mel Gibson?
Right. See that right there? So that was another black mask manifestation.
That is insane, dude. Dude,
Yeah,
that is insane.
I'm used to it. So I'm not going to show you this one actually because that's a kid and they're possessed, and I'm not going to show that one here.
Yeah, we can't show that.
I'm just not. I should have taken that one out, but I don't share videos of possessions publicly. That's just not cool. But here is one of the more fascinating ones. This was an entity out of sight. Why is it? Okay, 1 second. So this was me and Sadhu Da. This was I won't mention the case, but pay attention to the wall. Now, this one was weird. I can't fully account for this one, but it did happen. I was right there for it. You'll hear my voice.
We're at the recording. High-level phenomena, shadow mass in a corner of the wall that grows. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Wait for it's not. That's nothing, buddy. Wait for it. Just wait.
See it recede and grow.
That's not normally there.
I believe you.
Wait for it.
Let's keep this party going.
And
Yeah.
see how it gets all the way red?
Damn, that's sexy.
That's Da. That's Da
Yeah,
for you.
and I just pause this for a second.
Yeah.
I just want to say, guys, one of the reasons why we're showing this is because, a lot of you in the chat you might have a big head and you might think, oh, this could never happen to me. I thought the same thing. I thought I have, I was very spiritual, and I thought that nothing I could ever be, trust me, it can happen to anybody. It can happen to kids. It can happen to older people. It can happen to anybody. You know what I mean? There's no rhyme or reason as to why this happens. I mean, I'm sure there's case studies, and I'm sure Aman can tell you why some stuff happens more to people. People's auric fields are degenerated and stuff like that. But, I think it can happen to almost anybody, right, Aman?
It can happen. It can happen to anyone under the right circumstances. This next one here, this might be my. I would say this is like the pinnacle of our research. This was another one of me and Da, and you guys have no idea how much work these took to get. You have no. But this one I'm proud of. So here we have a mirror, a platform. You're gonna see a shadow mask coming out from behind the mirror, and you just wait till the end. Just wait till the end. Wait for it. Boom. See that?
Well, go do it again. Sorry. I want to make sure the audience sees it too.
See that paused right there? That right there is proof that its form is nebulous. It is shape-shifting and altering its form directly in front of our eyes right now in its inky black form. We can see it. Watch again.
That's insane.
Right there.
Oh my God, dude. That's insane.
Let's run that one more time so everyone can see it. This is important research. Boom. Okay. So that gives us an indication of the nature of their almost shape-shifting form, right? So they have that manifestation, they have the orb manifestation, they have the black mass manifestation, they have the entity manifestation, they have the red walls manifestation, they have the shadow person manifestation. I think we should end this all on a more positive note. So unlike other researchers, I don't think it's all bad. I think there's also positive phenomena out there that's occurring, and I wanted to share an example of that to close on a positive note.
Yeah.
UFO.
That's a real UFO. Oh my God! That holy shit! That's a good one,
No, wait. Let's finish.
dude. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm. Wait for it. It's not even done.
I can't fucking record, Jennifer. Record for me. Yeah. Look, you see? A third one.
There's a third one.
Look, and then that one might split. They've been doing that for a minute.
Well,
Look how
the
bright
fourth
they are.
one.
Where?
Well, it just went away.
You see how they're fucking moving? Look, there's a fourth one right there.
I see it. Okay, let's go back.
No, let's finish watching this.
No.
Let me call my sister.
Okay. So those are some of the evidence that I wanted to share with everyone, right? That should give us an idea of, like, we're not dealing with like something like woo-woo or like entirely imaginative. There's some actual tangible realities to this, real evidentiary support that allows us to engage with this type of phenomena. So do you have any questions on anything you saw? Anyone from the chat want to talk about it before I take us through a protection process?
Yeah. Does anybody in the chat have any questions on any of the entities you saw? Like, you can ask your questions now, and Sovereign Cosmic Wildman's in the chat. He always has some good. I mean, we got a lot of people in here tonight. We got a good crowd. Yeah, let me know, guys, if you guys have any. Benno from Oz says great capture.
Took a lot of work, Joanna. Took a lot of work.
Oh yeah, Joanna says pretty impressive what you recorded. And then Sovereign Cosmic Comment says you witnessed the orb manifest into something? Question mark. So yes. I guess you.
And just to mention what Haley's saying, go check out the congressional hearing on the UAP disclosure that's happening right now, where various highly decorated government officials blow the whistle and offer testimony regarding advanced UAP. Maybe Haley could link that in the chat, possibly, if she wanted to.
Yeah. Here's a good question from Derek Rue Riders. He says, question, why, I'll try to put them up on the screen. He says, question, why does the phenomenon manifest different for different people?
Manifest different for different people because the phenomena individualizes itself to our own psychology based on what it wants from us. Now, a bigger question to that would be, what type of phenomena are we talking about specifically? Because, like, I'm of the opinion there is still, like, some researchers are of the opinion that it's all one thing. I think there's a bit more nuance in that. I've seen good evidence for human spirits behaving as human spirits. I've seen good evidence for diabolical type spirits behaving as such. There's way more questions than answer, but I know the heart of what you're asking, Woo Riders. And the reason it manifests differently for different people is because every person is unique, and what would get the desired response from one person might get a completely different response from another. So in some regards, it's able, at least it seems able, if you don't shield properly, to read your psychology to some degree. So I hope that's so.
Hallie Newman had another good question. She says, UAP phenomena, demonic connection, hybridization, question mark. I mean, this is a question that gets raised a lot, you know, like I don't think
of course, and Haley. Yeah. Okay. That's like the deepest question in the research right now, right? That's like I would argue that's kind of the elephant in the room, right? That topic and how it relates to incubus phenomena and how it relates to Nathaniel Gillis's work. And as far for hybridization, I would say Nathaniel Gillis does is doing the most updated work on that. That being said, what I can say about that is that based on my experience, particularly on one of my cases in Colorado, I have seen a human be hybridized to a very high degree. So I think the hybridization is about, I look at it almost like a scuba suit analogy. To like from their perspective, when they possess us, it's kind of like them putting on a scuba suit. So I think the hybridization is just to make whatever this vessel, more in alignment with their lower frequency. So
Yeah.
So I would argue the hybridization would probably be more akin to mutation. But that's the bleeding edge of the research that no one's talking about. And my team is doing work in that regard as well. And the truth is we don't have good answers.
Yeah, Black Unity Griffin, her name's Candace. She's in the chat. She says Mac Tonys. He's a good researcher. He's wrote books on the crypto-terrestrials that like a lot of these aliens are actually from here, and they're like inner Earth civilizations and stuff like that. Do you have an opinion on that?
Man, I don't. I'm.
It's hard to say, right? I know it's a dumb question because like, how can you answer that, right? It's like, sorry, I didn't mean to.
It's okay, bro. I mean, I'm here in a podcast teaching. I should have an opinion about it, but the truth of the matter is, like, frankly, I'm not educated enough on that side of the material to have an opinion. I need to educate myself more, and maybe on a future podcast, maybe on a future podcast, I'll have a better answer for you. But do I think there's some truth to advanced lost civilizations? Absolutely. Do I think that there is good evidence for the crypto-terrestrial hypothesis? Absolutely. Do I think it encompasses the entirety of the picture? No, I do not. I don't think any current model we have encompasses the entirety of the picture.
Yeah. To see people were saying there's 2 streams. I don't know how that happened, guys. I didn't make 2 streams. This is what I mean. It's like weird targeting, crazy bullshit that happens. But like, I'll delete one of them though. Like,
what are you talking about?
There's 2 streams going on right now. Like, there's 2 live streams somehow. Like, I didn't create 2 live streams, but there's 2 live streams. This is what I deal with. It's the same reason why by the beginning the technology was slow. It's like some kind of weird targeting. Like, I don't even want to get into that because I'm not trying to play the victim. Yeah. I'm just stating what's reality and what happens. It's always something. You know what I mean? It's like you're giving some of the weirdest people in the world, the most fringe researchers, myself included, a platform to try to help people. So I can see how some of the forces that we're talking about might not like that. So I wouldn't completely rule it out. Yeah, that's a good point. This is from Azik. Thank you for that, by the way. And Azik9 says, should I buy an amulet necklace from Sadhu Da? I would say, why not? Yeah, that's awesome. He makes up amazing.
Okay. I would say, yeah. I would say, so here's my honest answer. Talk to him first. Have an in-depth discussion about your needs so he can give you the exact right thing that suits you best. He's one of the best amulet guys I've ever met. One of the most in-depth, most well-educated, thorough researchers in his niche that I've ever met. And he's the only one I would send people to buy when it comes to amulets. He's my supplier of amulets. So, yeah.
Yeah. And then we'll do one more question because I got a show. I'm supposed to have another show in 5 minutes, but we'll make time to do the heart coherence. Yeah. This is from Woo Riders. He says, have you seen the sigils manifest in real time? If you have, did you document the sigil research origins? Typically sigils are under the skin. What is the best way to get sigils to appear? He says.
So there are a couple ways. Usually they fade quickly, but sometimes they last longer under UV light. So if you can get a UV pen light, you can put the UV light where the sigil appeared, and you can usually see the remnants of that. So that's one way. I do have really good images of sigils, but what I don't have is the people whose it's on permission to share it. So I can't do that. At least in this context. But I would like to, since we only have a couple minutes, I'd like to guide us through a brief process real quick.
I'd love to do it because I think we could all use it. So guys, get ready. We're going to do a small meditation. If you're driving right now, stop the car. Do not do this while you're driving. Do not do this while you're operating machinery. This is only for people who are watching at home and you're like chilling and you can do a meditation right now. But I wouldn't do this if you're driving. Like, that's a little disclaimer. But I'm ready.
Okay. So for my old school Harry Potter fans out there, think Patronus charm. That's the idea of what we're doing. I want everyone, to the best of their ability, to bring to mind a really positive moment in their life. The best you can do in the moment. I know for some of us, myself included, sometimes that's really, really, really hard. But if we really get down to it, all of us, I believe, in our hearts can connect to at least the idea of a good moment. So for me, it was when I was with my friend in Paris under the Eiffel Tower. That's one of them that I tap into, a really good one. So let's practice our heart coherence. The way we do that is 3 steps. Step 1, we bring our hands to our heart. Step 2, we bring to mind something we're grateful for or a really positive experience. Just take a couple seconds and get there. And now, if you're the imaginative type, you can allow those feelings to expand as a point of brilliant, bright, loving, powerful light of any color from your heart to surround your body in a halo of the brightest light you can imagine, brighter than you've ever seen, protective, loving, all accepting. And together, we're just going to breathe that light into the body 30 times. I'm going to raise my hand on the inhale and lower my hand on the exhale. Let's breathe that loving light into our body as we really focus on the feelings of that positive moment. Inhale. Exhale longer than you inhale. Nice and slow. Everyone's doing great. $20 more. Take a moment now as we pause on the 10th. Refocus on the heart. Refocus on the feelings of that good moment, that good memory. Maybe it felt like joy. Maybe it felt like peace. Maybe it felt like calmness or comfort. And really, regardless of what you're surrounded by, regardless of where you find yourself, let those internal sensations take precedence as we breathe in for another cycle of 10. Fully in. Inhale, exhale. Let's pause for a minute, bringing our attention back to our hands and our hearts, feeling the warmth of our hands on our hearts as our shoulders relax, as we see that energy inside every cell in our body, shining that non-judgmental, loving, all-accepting light outwards. As we move into our final cycle of 10, I invite everyone to breathe this love into the deepest core of your being. Let it radiate out and let it take effect in how you treat others so we can leave the world a better place and we can all focus on love more in our day-to-day lives. Fully in. Inhale, exhale. Feel the warmth of your hand on your heart and just give yourself gratitude for showing up for this practice. As you see that light shining around your body, connecting to the love in your heart, that love connecting to you, to your idea, whatever your higher power is, even if that's just the idea of pure love, allowing that love to radiate out, to fill your body with a halo of the brightest light you can imagine. That light will repel any darkness, any negativity, any evil. And you can come back to this process and practice anytime you want in order to create a powerful shield. How's that feel?
I wanted to just say, so like what he's doing, guys, like if you guys don't get what he's doing, like a lot of people might think it's breathing. It's not just breathing. What you're doing is you're ramping up your heart energy so you can use that as a mechanism to fight against these forces, because these forces attach, like he said earlier, to lower vibrational states. So when you raise your heart, my light went out. When you raise your heart energy and you're doing that, and the heart coherence does raise your heart energy like that, you'll start to notice that you can project that heart energy out to different parts of your body. Like I can use that heart energy now and send it to my ear. If I feel something on my ear, I can send it to the top of my head. If I feel something on top of my, you can actually send that energy. And when you get good at projecting the energy, you'll get better. And then you start to learn how to manipulate energy. And that's how I learned how to, project my I was with a girl recently, Aman, and this girl told me I was projecting my prefrontal cortex onto her. And I was like, wow. I was like, I guess I started to learn how to manipulate energy a little bit. But when it was from,
Yeah. Okay. So I know you have another guest. I don't want to take their time. Just real quick.
Yeah.
If you want to reach out to me, if you're having a problem or you want further training, we can have that discussion at Sifu Aman Berry, Berry, at gmail.com. You can also find me at my YouTube channel, The Shambhala Dojo. And I'm here to help. Honestly, I'm genuinely here to help. So that's what I'd like to leave us with. Practice your heart coherence, practice your protection. I genuinely believe that'll help everyone. And if you do want exorcist training, you can have a conversation with me and we can figure something out. Don't let the prices on the website scare you. I'll make it work. Just if it's in your heart, message me and we'll have the talk. That's
awesome, man. Well, thank you so much. And thank you everybody for tuning in. And I do have another show. We're going to do a live hypnosis session after this. So, I'll see you guys all at the next show, and have a good night, everybody, and take care. And thanks, Aman. It's always good to see you, bro. I'm glad you're
back on. Have a great evening.
Yeah, I'd love to have you on again, man. Take care. All right.